Hello, cosmic beings. Welcome to Being Cosmick. If this is your first time here, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. I am so glad that each and every one of you are here. My name is Devon, and I will be doing a collective message today. So, with that, take what resonates and leave what doesn't. Okay, so before I sat down to record, it was earlier this morning, and I kept hearing a song in my head. So then I played the song and listened to it, and it auto generated a playlist, and there was like 5 songs back to back that I was like, ooh, these are some pretty intense love songs. So um I was just listening to it and doing some stuff, and then I heard that's part of the message, basically. So I'm gonna read to you the songs that came up. um and just take it as extra confirmation. If these songs don't resonate with you, that doesn't mean this isn't your message. It's just going to be extra confirmation for those of you who it resonates with. So the first song that I kept hearing in my head was Mirrors by Justin Timberlake. Then the next one was It Girl by Jason Derulo. Then Something Just Like This by Chainsmokers and Coldplay. And then My Love by Justin Timberlake. And Shivers by Ed Sheeran. So that was what it auto played after I typed in mirrors. So, extra confirmation, take it as it resonates, but this is definitely a love message. Um, so let's get into the reading. All right. What's going on with love in the collective? Mm. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your time. And thank you for the support on the channel. The likes, shares, comments, subscribes, and the donations all really do help out. So thank you, thank you, thank you. What's going on? Okay. So we've got abandoned, which is it says left out, walked away, and cold. And then we've got beginnings. Try again, new direction, and start over. Okay. Oh geez. All right. So okay. um oh my goodness gracious. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So what's going on? Okay. All right. So it's okay. Let's give me just a second here. We got a lot going on. That was definitely in reverse. Okay. Okay. I think I see what's going on here. Okay, this is what I'm picking up. So this is a situation where I feel like, yeah, you were with somebody, and you thought it was just chemistry. You thought it was just lust or attraction, which we do have the lusting card out here. Um, just uh what, like, carnal desire kind of energy, where you thought that you were, it was a physical thing, like physical attraction. And then what I'm picking up is due to probably unhealed stuff, childhood stuff, take it as it resonates. um it didn't allow you to see this at that deeper layer. So there was something about this connection that unlocked part of you at a deep, deep level. But I feel like your mind was taking it as, I'm just really physically attracted to this person. And then what I feel like happened is there was a separation. There was a breakup. And then I feel like what's happening now is the realization that there was way more to this than meets the eye. It was not just a physical thing. It was a lot deeper than that. And I feel like after this, separation happened, there was a lot of sorrow. And then we've got the boundaries card, and I don't really know. I might need to get clarification on that one. Um, so I feel like it kind of it, it's I feel like initially it was probably pretty challenging, just the separation, but I feel like since that initial pain, so to speak, it turned into like this low level of sorrow. And on here it says loss, grief, and depression. Um, okay. What I heard with this boundaries card is part of what could have happened is there was it might have felt like you were putting boundaries up, but it was actually pushing this away. Um, yeah, okay. Then what I feel like is happening now is clarity. I feel like there's been a lot of clarity that has come to you about this connection, and it's definitely opened your heart. Um, we had conflict in shallow, which is hollow, empty, and boredom, and clashing differences and incompatibility. These were in reverse. And so what I feel like this is saying is that this connection is the opposite of that. This connection is the opposite of hollow, empty, and bored. This is a connection that lights you up at the soul level. This is a connection that's like you are not going to be bored in this connection. Um, just in this connection and also in life in general. And then I feel like with this conflict card, so it says incompatibility on here, and I feel like there was a part of you that felt like you were incompatible, but now you're realizing that it was kind of like misreading the situation, and that there is a high level. What I'm picking up in the energy is it's a high level of compatibility. Um, and then we've got that beginnings card. So I feel like there is an opportunity for you to try again with this person. And then we've also got one day, which is someday, somewhere, another time. And maybe that was part of it too. Maybe this connection was one of those ones where you let it go and then you just kind of thought like, yeah, maybe in a different lifetime, or maybe, the time wasn't right, or, you know, stuff like that. And then there was that, but maybe one day kind of energy. And then I just heard that one day is today. So take that as it resonates. And then we do have the lusting card out here. So I do feel like there is a lot of sensuality that you are feeling for this person. Okay, and then we've also got mistakes. And mm, I feel like part of this new beginning with this person is going to be talking about mistakes that were made. Okay, and then we've got bluff. And on here, I saw mask. And when I saw that, I feel like that was part of this is a connection that you can try and wear a mask, but it doesn't work. This is somebody who can see through your mask. And that might have been part of what, kind of freaked you out a little bit and pushed you away from this connection, because this is a deep connection. This is that type of connection that it activates you. I just heard activates you at the soul level. I heard that again. So this is a very activating connection. And so that's part of it too, is when somebody can see through that mask, it's pretty intense. um it's a very intense feeling. And so I feel like that's part of what this, process of not being with this person was about, is you needed to remove your mask in order to go towards this new beginning with this person. And the same thing for them as well. This is mutual. So I feel like you can see through this person's mask as well. This is that energy of like when you're trying to wear a mask or, get all up in your ego, the other person just kind of looks at you and smirks and is like, I mean, I see you, but you do you. Like, in a loving way though. Um, what else? What else wants to come through? Are we going to that one now? Going to that one? Okay. Okay, and then we've got time. So one, I feel like for some of you, there's been a lot of time that has passed since this separation happened. And then I also feel like there's been a level of divine timing going on in this connection. And so, if you are resonating with the divine timing aspect of it, one thing when I heard the one day is today, I feel like this is coming through to let you know that the time is now for you to open up and really take some steps to sustaining this in the physical realm. Um, yeah, and then we've got karma. And on here it says consequences, cause and effect. And oh, and then it says debt, so karmic debts. And that's part of this too. So maybe there was an element of needing to be in a separation kind of period where you were working on your stuff, this person is working on their stuff, healing karmic stuff, breaking karmic cycles, so on and so forth. And now that you both have done that up until this point, now the energy is right for you to come together. Okay. Now we're going to this. Okay, and then I just heard to take the top card, and that's realizations. So we've got epiphanies, understandings, and awakenings. And so, yeah, I'm just gonna say it. This feels divine counterpart, like divine counterpart energy. It doesn't have to be, but there is an element of that for some of you, where it's that concept of you go, you try it, it doesn't work, you go into separation, and then you go through, awakenings and all sorts of stuff, clear some karmic stuff, and then the energy is is right for it to be sustainable. Okay. What wants to come through from this one? What's going on? So I do want to say, I've been picking up on this thread of energy for a little bit now, and I do feel like something changed in your energy when it comes to this. And I'm hearing the clarity really, 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 really came in some form or fashion. It's almost like you were in a fog and you were just kind of you were getting some of the awareness and you were being led and you were being shown signs and synchronicities, and it was kind of like your spirit team, whatever you work with, was coming through to let you know, like, this is your person, this is your person, this is your person. And then it was kind of still like, no way. There was a lot of doubt. There was a lot of that. It's too good to be true energy. And then there's something that happened where some of that fog lifted and something, yeah, I'm really seeing something happened where it was like, it became clear. Something, I don't know. Yeah, I'm not being shown what happened, but there's definitely a shift in this energy where it just became clear. And and there could still be doubts, especially if you haven't talked to this person yet, which I don't feel like you have. Um, but there's definitely more of a clarity to the situation, to who this person is, to you, and the soul connection. Okay, we've got the Temple Path card. In that, to me, when the Temple Path card comes out in a love message, that's really saying that both of you are consciously working on your relationship with source in whatever way that is, whatever divine forces you work with, the universe, God, source, the divine, spirit, etc. You are both really committed to this path, to connecting with spirit, to having that be a priority. There we go. Words aren't wording right now. And then we've got the action card. So, um, I was kind of feeling that this is more of a masculine energy that I'm tapping into. And so if you are well, I actually might just put divine masculine in the reading in the title because this does feel pretty divine masculine-esque energy. Um, there's definitely that call for action. Yeah, this is one of those, like, the union window is still open, and the time is now if you choose to pursue this connection. Okay. And then we've got appreciation. And so that's really talking about staying in the attitude of gratitude, um, being thankful for all the little things and all the big things. And I feel like there is oh, part of it is you have a deeper appreciation for this person, for this connection, for your path that, you've been walking, really building that connection with source and listening to the guidance and allowing yourself to come into the awareness of who this person is to you at a soul level. Um, And so I do feel like that's a big part of this. And then also there is something with this connection that is going to allow you to really anchor in this appreciation energy just with less resistance. It's more easily. Like it's just one of those things where, when you wake up in the morning and see the love of your life lying next to you, there's a level of appreciation that is just there. And especially in this scenario where you were with this person, something happened, you went to a separation, and then all the realizations came up. You got the awareness of who this person is to you. You got the awareness of your soul connection in whatever way you resonate with that. And just understanding that this is a deeper connection. This is a divine connection. This is something that you and this other person orchestrated before you came into this human realm. And decided like, yes, this life, we're gonna do it. This life, we're gonna be together. This life, especially now on the planet, it's really hard for high level counterparts to come together, um, in the past. It still happened, of course. But it was just the resistance on the planet was a lot denser. Hopefully that makes sense. But, we are going through like the shift and ascension and raising the consciousness on a planetary level. And because of that, one, the time is better, maybe, for more I almost said twin flames. So take that if it resonates. For more divine counterparts to come together, these heavily divinely guided connections. It's easier in a way, and it's also, I mean, it's still not easy, don't get me wrong. Um, but there's also that element of because we are collectively going through that consciousness shift, having divine counterparts coming together to help lead the way for the rest of the collective, that was part of the purpose. That was part of the soul blueprint before coming in to this, human body, basically. We've got the thinking man. So I feel like you've been really putting a lot of thought into this. and really, and that was coming out in yesterday's message where it was like that head versus heart kind of energy, but it feels like it shifted. It feels like you're not as much in your head in the doubt, in the worry, in the fear. It feels like now it's more of, okay, I know what this is. I'm accepting it. I'm allowing this to be real. I'm allowing myself to see it from a way that it's not too good to be true. And now I'm figuring out a way to make this happen. To, because this is a heavy divine masculine energy. So it's very much that getting in that energy of, pursuing this connection. And and I feel like it's I just like felt it and saw it. Sometimes the messages come through weird. How can I put that into words? It's almost like you're in this energy of like, I'm going for it and I'm gonna make this happen in a respectable way. It's not like it's not in a domineering way. It's in a way of like, I now know what this is. I now know what is on the line. I'm choosing to walk the soul led path and I'm gonna go get my person because I know they're meant to walk this path with me and we're meant to walk this path together. And what we can do together is so much more impactful and um powerful in a way. Again, not in an ego way, not in a way that, we've come to think of power where it's, corrupted. This is in a very like anchoring in this just powerful energy. And then we've got victory, and then we've got all tied up in the reverse. I'm gonna read that. So the victory card is success. This is like, yes, you have victory when it comes to this situation. You will be victorious. That's what I just heard. So that's awesome. So that's extra confirmation for you, maybe a little extra boost to be like, yes, go get your person. The time is now, your energies are aligned, and it's almost this energy of like you're just getting started. Regardless of what your earth age is, you're just getting started. Um, like you don't even know what's coming for you in a beautiful, beautiful way. And just like all that struggle, all that karmic clearing, all that, living unconsciously for so long and dealing with so much, the level of intensity that was on that side of things flipped the polarity. And now it's going to be just as intense, but in the complete polar opposite way, where it's just opportunities and just all the things. And definitely there is the soul mission aspect to this as well. There is that energy of coming together and just being a fucking powerhouse. I mean, this is like a power couple energy. But it's a soft, loving energy. But it's a strong, like there's a strong energy as well. Like this is you know, there's the element of FAFO with this energy, but there's also this energy of like it's just it's soft, it's loving, it's beautiful, but it's also very like it's grounded and and this is one of those connections where it's like you this is a ride or die connection. Um Like, this person has your back no matter what. You have their back no matter what. And I feel like there's some stuff that is gonna need to be, like, talked about from, like, the past situation, but the energy is so much different now that it's gonna be I do feel like there's gonna be an emotional clearing that happens when you talk about this dynamic, um, just kind of that release, and then I also heard relief, and so there is that element of when you come together and talk through this, it's a relief energy of like, I knew I wanted this, and then I didn't think that I would be able to have this, and now I see you. Now I know who you are. I remember you, and I can have this. and this is like all I want. That it's that kind of energy. Whew, freaking I normally don't when I'm reading, okay, I'm just going to say this. So when I'm reading, I activate different chakras to where I don't really get into my feels, but that one like oh, yeah, there's going to be some emotional release that happens for both of you. Which is it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Okay, all tied up in the reverse position is telling you that the ties that bind are breaking loose. A previously stuck situation is opening up and restrictions are clearing out. It indicates you are ready to break free from habits and patterns that have kept you tied up for so long. Get ready to free yourself. You have all the power and clarity at this point, so untie the binds of the patterns that have stopped you from being authentic and empowered. Now is the time to liberate yourself. And so, this is the energy. This is what changed. This is what changed. Freaking good job. I'm just going to say that. Like, good job. That is not an easy thing to do. I mean, and I felt the energy for a while. So I know just on the energy that I was picking up on, like this was not an easy thing for you to do. So just, good job. Huzzah. Like give yourself a freaking pat on the back, Like that's big, big, big shit right there. Like that's big work. So first and foremost, good job. This is what changed though. You did whatever was necessary for it's going to be different for all of you. So whatever was blocking you, whatever was keeping you stuck and attached to your I want to say it in the term of like your old life, but it's like you're still like in it, but energetically you're not. So such a weird thing when this happens. This is also what happens when you quantum leap, which high level counterparts coming together is a form of quantum leaping. But it's really this weird energy of you do so much internal work. It's an inside out process. So you do so much internal work and then you wake up and you're still seeing your environment in the same it's the same, but it's different. You're different. And then when you realize that, and then you open yourself up and you surrender and listen to the guidance and follow that guidance and take divinely guided action, that's when your entire physical reality will completely shift. And I feel like you're on the brink of it, but you've energetically already done it. There's this element of like energetically, you already did it. Now it's just how are you going to move this forward from your human perspective? So, huzzah to you. That's so awesome. Yeah. And I feel like you really picked the soul path. And so I'm proud of you for what that's worth. Um, it's especially because most of the time when that happens, and I feel like you're going to resonate with this, um, most people around you are not doing this. They're not aware of this content. They're not awake and aware of what's going on. They're not awake and aware of they're just, living life unconsciously. And that's okay. Like that's okay. That's part of why we're here and waking up and going through this shit that we're going through is to be that light, be that guide for others. And so the fact that you've done this and committed to this, while I feel like nobody else around you has any idea of what's been going on beneath the surface, just good job. Good freaking job. Okay. And then we've got the fourth chakra. This is the heart chakra. And maybe that was part of something else too. Maybe there was a heart activation or a heart clearing that took place as well. Which is funny because yesterday and the day before, I was feeling a lot of that heart activation energy as well. So there's definitely something going on with that, probably collectively. Um, but it's that like micro versus macro, like as within, so without kind of thing. So there's definitely a heart chakra like opening that has really happened. Okay, what I just heard is you fully it's like you fully allowed this in. It's like you fully said, "Okay, I'm letting this in. I'm gonna follow this through because I have to at this point." It's one of these things of like, because I feel like there's a level of illogical energy with this connection. There's something about it. Maybe it was the time that you spent together. Maybe, on the big grand spectrum of things, maybe you're only with this person for a short period of time and you had longer, more serious relationships. But this relationship, this person, just it felt so different. It activated you in a way that nobody else has. And so there is that energy of like, what the fuck? Like, why? This doesn't make any sense. And if you were to talk to anybody about it, they're like, "You're just dude, just get over it." Like, what's the big deal? Just get over it. There's plenty of fish in the sea. And you're like, "But I can't." Like, there's this energy of like, it doesn't matter. This person has followed me through every timeline, through every life change. Their energy has been there. Maybe just, just behind the surface, like just below the surface, not always conscious, not always there. You're not always, you weren't always like ruminating or thinking about them 24/7 or whatever, but it's like a life change would happen and they would pop into your mind. Or when you went to settle, or when you went to play small, this person popped into your mind. And then something about that energy just gives you that fire of like, okay, I'm going to do this thing. And it's illogical. It doesn't make sense why that would happen. And it's because it's not logical from the logical mind. This is a divine connection. This is something that is to be felt. This is an experience in the heart space. This is an experience in the energy field. This isn't something that you're going to mentally be able to explain to somebody who's never gone through this, because it's just, it sounds a little freaking delulu. Like it really does. If you go and try and like verbalize this to somebody who's never experienced this, they're going to look at you like you're growing a second head, just like, what the hell? Um, that song lyric come up. Um, okay, I'm being told to say this, so that's funny. Um, when I said, just ignore this if this does not resonate. But when I said growing a second head, then I heard, and his name is Violet Head. Okay. Anyways, that's gonna be for maybe one person, maybe two people. Anyways, um, so yeah, this is definitely door to romance. The door to romance is here for you. It's time. It's here. It's it's here. Uh, and I'm just like smiling ear to ear. Like this is so, I feel like, and I felt that too before I tapped in. It was just a very excited energy. So I feel like some of that doubt and fear and worry has shifted into excitement. Um, and part of that's because I just heard part of that is because you chose this path. You chose the temple path. You chose the scary path, the unknown path, the soul-led path. You chose it, and by consciously choosing that, a lot of the stuff will clear and lift once you commit to that path. And so I feel like that's, and maybe part of what was hard for you to commit to this path at first too is when, it's a wild thing to open up your heart and then find somebody there that you were not expecting to still be living in your heart space. It's a weird, wild experience, but I know that I'm talking to somebody who's gone through that, so you understand what I'm saying, because it's one of those, like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" Like, "Now what? Really?" Like, "Well, how do I," for me, it was one of these, like, "Well, how do I need to do more healing? I need to do more work." And Spirit and my divine team was like, "That's not why we're showing this to you now." And I was like, "Okay, cool. The fuck?" Like, but really though, the fuck? And then, it just kept coming through. And I was like, okay, I think I understand it. And then I'd be like, no, no, no. And then it just kept coming through. It's a really weird experience. But maybe that's part of why it took, because I feel like this has been a process that's taken a little bit of time. And that might be part of it too, is like once you started doing some of this inner work and tapping in kind of going within and breaking down those heart walls and things like that and really committing to this path, then you found that this person was living in your heart, which is a really weird way to put it, but it's pretty accurate. Um, and maybe that's part of where it was like, okay, that's weird. I'm gonna push back. Like, no, that's something that's just no. And then, do another layer, and then that person's still there. And you're like, what? But why? And then spirit's like, well, this is why. Because, it's meant to be. That's what I just heard. And then we've got Angel of Balance. So this is really talking about just being balanced. But I also really feel like what this is talking about is that this is a balanced connection. There is this, you balance each other out. I mean, like this is literally your perfect person. Not saying that this person is perfect. It's just this person is perfect for you. Um, and so there's definitely an element of just balance in this connection. And it's also a reminder to stay balanced in your just physical life. Um, and make sure that you're doing your best to balance out, the mental energy, the spiritual energy, the physical energy, and I just said it in a weird order. Mental, spiritual, physical, emotional. There we go. Making sure that those areas of life are balanced. Okay. No, let's see. Anything else? Huh. Anxiety. That's weird. It's weird because I don't. Oh, okay. I say I'm not picking up anxiety, like an anxious energy, but what I feel like is it might be happening is you might be experiencing a little bit of anxiety with thinking about how to pursue this connection. And okay, and I also just heard once you do, this anxiety will lift. Interesting. So you do have attachment. Is there still an element of masking? Hmm. I'm gonna have to get clarity on those two because I'm not feeling that energy, so I don't really know why the anxious and attached card came out. Okay, maybe for some of you, part of what needed to be healed either on your end or this person's end was an attachment style. They said anxious and attached. So which is an attachment style. So maybe there was something where you both or one of you um healed your attachment style, or maybe that's something you're working on now. Or maybe for some of you, that's something that you're going to work through with this other person. This other person's going to help you to fully release the, quote unquote unhealthy attachment style. I will say in my experience of doing readings and tapping into this energy and stuff, it's pretty rare to have a high level counterpart like this um come in and be securely attached. So most of the time there is going to be some sort of unhealthy attachment style that is learned in childhood that gets to be cleared and worked through um you know yeah, just as we get older and stuff like that and become aware of it. Thankfully, the beautiful thing is with a lot of us waking up and especially having kids and helping the younger generations, that is something that is changing, which is really cool. Okay, and then we have community and journey. So, um, huh. Give me just a second. Okay, so I paused it for a minute to figure out what was going on with these four cards, and then my daughter came in. She was having issues with slime. She's trying to do slime one-handed. And she broke her dominant wrist. She broke her left arm. Not left. Well, yeah, pretty much. So she's trying to do a slime kit with her non-dominant hand and one-handed. So it's a situation. Anyways, so which again, I mentioned this in yesterday's reading, if you caught that one. When we're talking high level counterparts coming together, there is a lot of distraction and interruption and things like that that happens. It happens in pretty much almost every single divine counterpart message I do. Not every single one, but a lot. Um, so that's just, take it as resonates. If you want to know more about that, I would recommend looking at the reading I did yesterday. Um, I will do my best to remember to link it at the end of this one. But I kind of go into what's going on with that and why and so on and so forth. So with what's going on with this, what I'm picking up is that with this anxious and this attached card, what I feel like is happening is you've actually released these, or you're releasing them now. And that is what is allowing you to really step fully into this energy to be able to move forward with this person. And then there's also the community card and the journey card. And what I feel like that is saying is that there is a level up in your community that is on the horizon. And it's by taking this journey and allowing yourself to really anchor in. This is your highest timeline. So I don't know if you resonate with timelines and things like that, but basically what it is there's in any now moment there's infinite possibilities, there's infinite timelines, and this is in alignment with your highest timeline. So that means that this is your most authentic self, your most divine embodied self. Um, and because of that, it's going to pull in a community that reflects that. And it's by you really taking the steps to walk this path and walk this journey that is allowing this to come in as well. So that's another byproduct of you choosing this path. And so it's one of those things, by you choosing this path, you get, I just heard you get it all. You get, your the love of your life. That's what just came through. You get a high level community that is supportive, that is helpful, that helps to open doors to opportunities. And then it's also really a reciprocated energy when it comes to your community. Okay, my throat just totally freaked out for a minute. Um, and so there's definitely a need to communicate now. And I feel like it's communicating with this person. I feel like that's what you're really being guided to do. Um, let's see if anything else wants to come out really quick. And then I'm gonna close it. I also just randomly thought about this. I've been experiencing insomnia lately and just having issues sleeping for one reason or another. And so you might be experiencing that as well. And sometimes when we're either quantum leaping or on the brink of like pulling something like this in, that will happen. It'll affect your sleep. So if you're experiencing that, that's just extra confirmation. I know for me it's one of those, like, I'm up at all hours of the night. I'm just it's just been a real weird sleep schedule. So just know that, especially when you're anchoring this in, there's this energy dynamic that's happening between you and this other person. And so it's almost like it's kind of like you're pulling on each other, but not in like a bad way, not in like an energetically draining way, but it's just one of those, there's so much energy flowing between you and this other person that it can affect your sleep. It can affect, everything, your mental thought process and everything else. We've got caring connections and patience. And that's funny. Both of these came out in the reading yesterday as well. Um, so this is just extra confirmation that this is what you're pulling in. You are pulling in this type of a connection, this uh, deep level soul love connection. And I feel like it's something that you didn't think was possible for you for a long time, but there's a soul knowing that that is something that you were meant to experience in this lifetime. That's something that you decided as a soul to experience in this lifetime. And now you are in the awareness of that and you're ready to anchor it in. Um, and then patience. And it's funny. Normally I take this as divine timing and wait for divine timing, but that's not what this message is. This is talking about um okay, I'm reading it again. You would think I would know it by now, but oh, that's right. Peaceful presence and letting go of desperation. So it's telling you that it's time to release old urgency and look at things with a clearer perspective. Okay, so maybe that's part of what has shifted as well. Maybe there was like this, maybe the type of urgency shifted. So not a desperate urgency, but like a divine urgency. It's more of like a divine push versus a an urgency out of the sense of time's running out and so on and so forth. So maybe that's shifted as well. But I really am picking up like the time is now for you to go for this. Um and you're not going to regret it. I just heard that. Like you're not going to regret it. This is one of those things that if you've been getting the awareness to reach out to this person or attempt to anchor this in or, take it as it resonates, I feel like what this is going to do is once you actually reach out to this person, you communicate with this person, even if it's just like a, hey, how's it going? um there's going to be a sense of relief, but then in there is, okay, so I just felt kind of like a little bit of an anxiety energy. So there is going to be, lots of emotions that are activated and triggered and brought up and everything else, but it's really going to pull in that energy of why didn't I do this sooner? And don't get stuck in that. But I do feel like it's one of those things where you're going to look back and be like, I could have, it was safe for me to reach out to this person, a month before, 6 months before, however long, just take it as resonates. Um, okay. Is that the last part? Nope. We've got envy. What I feel like from this card, this is letting you know is just get ready because when you go towards this person, and I do feel like this is something where it's reciprocal, this person wants this as well. When you anchor this type of a connection in, there are going to be people around you that are envious, whether it's completely obvious or low key and energetic thing that you feel. Just be aware of that. So just get ready for that. But this is one of those things that it's not gonna be a big deal. It's just gonna be something that I feel like you both are just kinda gonna kinda laugh about because you understand where that's coming from and that it's the limiting belief from that other person that this isn't available for them as well, when we all have a person that we can experience life with together. And then we've got blossoming abundance. So this is something else that this connection is helping you do and helping you bring in, is this abundance. And this is abundance in all areas of life. So just know that that's on the horizon for you as well if you're not already experiencing shifts in that. Um, because I do feel like there's a part of you that has already decided that this is what you want, and by deciding that and by committing to the soul-led path, this is something that naturally makes its way to you at some point, like, eventually. This is inevitable, because of the level of energy that you're vibrating at. So it's just a shift in consciousness, it's a shift in, your energy, and how you are experiencing the external world. You both, what I just heard, you both are powerful manifestors, and coming together, you complement each other and have the ability to manifest. For some of you, this is going to be instant manifestation. So just, get ready for that too. Um, that's beautiful. Okay, well, with that, I'm going to go ahead and leave this here. I really hope this resonates. Wishing you all the best on this journey. Give yourself a pat on the back. You've come a long way. So, alrighty. Well, let me know in the comments if this resonates, if you feel guided to. I would love to hear about it. If you like this message, feel free to hit that like button. It does help out the channel, so thank you. And if you would like to see more from me, you can hit subscribe. It is free, and I will see you on the next message.